Hi folks, Caroline here with another scrapbook process video. This one's called Seeing Red. So I broke my arm a month ago and I've been out of work, and I went to the doctor the other day and had an x-ray, and we talked, and he modified my lift restrictions, and I took my doctor's note into the store. And while my job in general would not work with these lift restrictions, my boss was really nice and has figured out a way to accommodate me and keep me busy. Um, and just kind of change around my job duties. So I was really, really happy yesterday, and I started this layout, just printing pictures, and I worked on the title a little bit, and I finished it today. Um, while I was in the store, so I've only worked there for about 6 weeks. I started after I finished student teaching, um, and I've been wearing a name tag that says new team member for the entire 6 weeks that I was there. And when I went in yesterday, my real official Caroline name tag had finally come in. So I was really excited, and I decided to retire my name tag and use it as a piece of ephemera. The picture on the right is the pair of shoes that I bought when I got this job. All my regular sneakers are kind of more skater shoes with no real arch support, and so I figured I needed something that would get me through a long day. So I did that seeing um, as my handwriting. Turns out I didn't like it very much. Like, I like the word, it's just wrong for the layout. So I decided to ditch it, and I went over and I cut out the word seeing from Babus New. The word red is cut from Kravitz Extra Thermal. It's not a true match to the Target font at all, but the Target font, as far as I know, is pretty much you have to pay for it. So I'm turning around the striped piece of paper so that I have a wider swath of gray at the top. And I want this to be a little bit more concise than it is, so I'm actually going to squeeze everything together and cut that bottom gray stripe off. Once I do that, though, I realize that now I've got the white on white, and I'm going to have to figure out a way to make that not blend in. So I grab some washi tape and I just put a tiny little strip on there. I use white background paper almost exclusively, and I almost always put a white border on my photos. So I'm constantly having to deal with, how do I get this white thing to separate from this other white thing. So I'm getting pretty good at tricks. This is why you'll see me do this double layer technique, just so that I have some color between my photograph and the white background. So I started to lay down the word red, and I realized that wasn't going to work. I needed to put down the word seeing and then use that to align this. So I used my ruler to help me figure out where the D would go, and then the R, and then the E just gets centered in between those. So some red line tape to hold down the name badge. It had a pin on it, but that just twisted off, no problem. I think this is the first time I've ever had to go into the kitchen and use dish soap on one of my embellishments, but it was kind of dirty beforehand. I've had these jelly bean soup label circle thingies for probably 3 or 4 years, and I've maybe used 3 of them total. I never really know what to do with them, but before starting the video, I went around, or before starting to put together the layout, I just went around and grabbed anything that had a little bit of red in it. This little thing there is a vibe card. So Target wants you to have a great experience. They want you to have a good vibe while you're in the store. One of the ways that they do that is they want us to be good to each other. So these vibe cards are ways for us to say, Holly helped me do something today, or Victor did a really great job. And at the end of the month, one of these cards, or I don't even know how many of these cards, get pulled, and the person wins a prize. I like this little trick that I just did, where I'd hear that little vibe, that word vibe, to a scratch piece of paper, so I could feed it into the corner rounder. I did that the other day, but I didn't manage to do it on camera. I've switched around my setup. I don't know if you've noticed. I hope the yellow washi isn't too distracting. It's just going to keep my layout in frame, or it's a reminder for me to keep the layout in frame so that I know what's going on. I can't see the back of my camera when I'm doing this. In fact, today I think I bumped into the camera 3 or 4 times. So I decided to do this colored in photo corner trick again. This time the photo corner is going to go on the background paper instead of the photo itself. I'm having a terrible time with the ATG gun today. So I'm going to get those circles put down. This, oh, my duck for the little piece from the vibe card. Get those photo corners put in. It's kind of funny when I start these layouts, I really don't, unless I have a sketch, and if I have a sketch, I'll definitely tell you about that. But when I started this, I didn't really have any notion as to the direction this was going to take. And I sat down and I did the title, and I made the title and I didn't know where it was going to go on the page. And then I sat down and I did the journaling and I printed that out. Still no concept for where the photos were going to go, at least not officially. But yesterday, my daughter and I were talking about a layout, and she said, it's very centered. It really shouldn't be all the way centered, which made me want to do something that was really very centered, just to say, see, you kind of sort of can do something that's very centered. So my journaling is actually 6 inches wide, centered right in the middle of things. The top and bottom isn't exactly centered, but it's kind of close. So it is relatively centered, but we'll see if she says anything. This is the one that's the industrial design major. That's industrial design is like a product designer. So when she grows up, she'll be out there making the products that you buy at Target. So kind of happy the way things turn out. I realized after I look at it that I wanted to put one more little thing. I have these little things that I die cut and I just put in a little glass jar on my desk. That was a good bonehead move. That duct tape is actually tabs, so I put it on the heart and had to peel it all off. So let's add some adhesive that won't show. And then just a little enamel dot to finish it off. And that's it. It's really nice and simple. I love the teeny tiny pops of blue that are in there, and the red really dominates, but isn't overpowering. So I think it came out really well. I like the way the blue actually works with my shoes. It doesn't really show up in the video, but here you can tell it's pretty. It's a very pretty blue. So thank you again for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.